It is January 18th, 1942, and welcome back to my Russian army's attempt at the Grand Campaign, where surrender here is not an option. Things along the bulk of the front remain quiet, the only action occurring northeast of the city of Rostov. Here he picks on a lonely infantry division. Further to the north, the 21st Army is engaged. This is the largest battle for the week. Being that my total losses were about 40,000, losing 15 here was a choice. I moved two of these divisions in because I believe it was the 141st Rifle Division that was unable to move out after last week's combat. So I attempted to boost up the strength of this hex, and it backfired. They do retreat. They're shattered. Pretty bad condition with losing half their guns and all. The results of these two battles do not really impact the shape of the front lines. That is until we move southward. His assault on my coastal city here along the Black Sea continues to take more terrain. To the northwest of the town, he engages a rifle division with 4 mountain divisions and 2 infantry divisions, easily winning the terrain, the ground, the hex, pushing them back. To the east here, though, he's moving down into very depleted units, so they just kindly get out of his way. In an attempt to not be outdone with all the activity to the south, his eastern army crosses a river and assaults one of my fortified regions. They surrender. He then follows this up with 2 battles, one of these striking at my Guards Rifle Division. We hold the ground. Unfortunately, the damage to my elements, as they're referred to as, the various guns and tanks that make up an army or a division, pretty destroyed. So this pretty much takes any combat effectiveness that I have in this area for at least this week. But as I begin my turn in this area, this presents me with a lot of decisions to make. The challenge of what to do with that small port town, and how much I want to continue to fight for this small river line that pretty much represents the last natural terrain barrier between here and Grozny. But if I am going to have to put up a defense at Grozny, or worse, the towns to the east of it, depending on terrain, the units that are going to do this are going to have to come from somewhere else on the map. Looking at the order of battle, 4.1 million men is not enough. This is clear even just with the bird's eye perspective. It also becomes more abundantly clear when you look at it from the metric screen. Only just a hair above his on-map units. So I don't really have the luxury to afford a major defeat in the south, nor do I have the time to allow my manpower pool to reinforce the units that are in the reserve box trying to refit. So this has me searching the map for units that are able and available to start making their way to the south. In the northwest here, all the way up by Leningrad, this 21st Tank Division's been hanging out. I don't think this terrain benefits it, and I don't think it has any reason to be here. And that does beg the question for a lot of these other units too, because they are some of my strongest units on the map, and I don't really see this being the major push for him come spring. So I might start pulling some of those units out, but for now, I do rail the 21st as far to the east as I can, which is not that far. Another strong candidate is the 338th Rifle Division. It almost makes it all the way to Astrakhan, so this will arrive in the area probably the quickest, and we'll start digging in almost immediately. So it should be clear that I've begun to shift my focus to a more defensive approach to try to plan for his spring offensive. And at least for right now, it seems to me that his 3 primary targets is everything around the Caucasus mountain range, the city of Stalingrad, and the city of Tambov. For right now, the city of Tambov is yet to receive the amount of effort that is required to build defenses. There are things moving behind the scene. I did reference some of them in a couple videos ago. But the south we will definitely return to before this video is out. Here at Stalingrad, though, I did bring in 10 fresh rifle divisions to add to the other ones. They will hopefully build up as I start to bring more supply depots to the area and dig in along these 2 river lines, the Volga being the absolute final line. is the plan. Hopefully they can get to level 2 and 3 forts by the time his armies arrive. To delay him from reaching the city too quickly, it's going to start with improving the 9th Army. To do this, I do have to commemorate the 4th Army, which is hanging out on these 2 level 4 depots. Some of the best refitting processes from turn to turn have been going on here. I'm not sure why, but I'm not complaining. So I do sneak in the construction or building up of a cavalry corps, and then I do move some of these freshly refit divisions into place. Although I'm still not quite sure what their ultimate plan will be. Because right now they feel like they're kind of out in the middle of the open. So besides all my precautionary defensive actions and the plans for battles that may be a month from now, what am I actually trying to accomplish on this specific turn? And that is, how do I duplicate a Russian version of Dunkirk and get as many men as I can out of the town of Tuapse? Unfortunately, to accomplish this, I do have to send my Air Force up. I do need to get the interdiction levels high enough to where my Navy can do its job on the transportation side of the ground phase. And thankfully, I do accomplish this task. We do succeed in getting the interdiction levels higher. Unfortunately, we run into a lot of his fighters, so I do end up losing 78 aircraft, but honestly, to accomplish this task, that was well worth it. To the actual retrieval of my units, I'm not sure what the limit is on how much freight you can move out per turn. But just like last turn, I got the Coastal Army front out. Now I'm moving out the 46th Army. I'm then going to task the 46th Army with putting up a defensive line in the southern edge of the Caucasus mountain range. To have a better chance of succeeding at this, I replaced the general with Galinin. He is the best general that I have access to right now that's currently not leading other forces. So he will now take over here in the south underneath the Caucasus front. Then it's just a matter of trying to figure out how many divisions I can move out this turn. So immediately I get hit with somewhat of a scare, because I try to move the 4th Crimea out, which it says it can, and then I try to move the 106th Rifle Division, which it will not let me. So I immediately thought it was the 175 men compared to the 3,000. This proves to be wrong. And I figured this out by jostling around a lot of the units in and around the town, putting my weaker ones to the front line, and then I end up getting a rifle division inside of the town itself. This is where I end up trying again, and this time it ends up moving a complete full-size division of 10,000 men. So even though I don't have anywhere to have them land at this turn, I'm going to just leave them offshore in their ships. But then this makes me really push to get these mountain rifle divisions out of there as well, because they will be useful in the next couple of weeks. And thankfully, the game allows me to do that. So I get, all in all, 4 divisions and another headquarters out of this pocket of his entrapment that he's given me. And maybe I'll do more next week, but it does not appear like there's much left in this pocket. Ideally, I might be able to get that really battered rifle division out of there, and possibly the other mountain rifle division. So that's going to depend on how my Air Force looks when I get my turn back. All in all, though, I'm relatively happy with what I was able to accomplish here. Really, the beginning of this, thought I was going to lose all of that. So I'll take what I can out of there. But here along most of the front line, not much really changes. Obviously, I back off a little bit as we get to the south. Here, things are a little bit different. I'm still holding that river line as best as I can, but I'm trying to see what he does with the ground that I gave him. If it stretches him more further to the north, I'll probably stay put in what defenses I do have. And then it's a matter of figuring out how to build up this southern edge of the Caucasus to make it as difficult as it can. A lot of that terrain down there is hills and other mountains, so I really don't want to give it up without fighting for it, but I have to have a better plan, hopefully some forts. It's going to take a lot of administrative points, but I'm going to I'm gonna have to see what I'm working with when I get the turn back and see whether or not I devote it to that direction or to more better positioned supply depots.